Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel. And today we are having some different segment. We are having a creative show today, and for that we have called, specially from 14th century, a person who is known as father of English literature, father of English poetry, and father of English language. So he is none other than Geoffrey Chaucer, who has served three kings, Edward III, Richard II, and Henry IV, and he happens to be a diplomat of 14th century. He stayed uh, most of his time in England, but went to so many countries, and he was very good adventurer. He was a very good writer, very good courtier, and he was from those people who have a name in history for some special reason. And the reason that Geoffrey Chaucer is enjoying is that he was the only one who used or started to use English language for the sake of its development. So he used English language and made it a popular language among the people. So let's meet Geoffrey Chaucer today. I'm very happy to extend my pleasure that I am here right now in the present age, and thank you very much for calling here. Thank you very much, Mr. Joseph, for coming to my show, and I'm very happy to have you here. It is really an honor to have you back from 14th century right in the present age. So it is a great scope that this channel is having your interview finally. So first of all, we would like you to please recite some verses of prologue to the Canterbury Tales, because people here may want to know that what kind of dialect or accent was there in 14th century. Okay, if you are interested in listening to Prologue to the Canterbury Tales, yes, I can speak that out for you. So that is in Middle English, and I hope if you are able to understand that. One that April with it shore satire, and the drocht of March as pierced to the rotte, and battered every vein in such liquor, of which virtue engendered is the flue. One Zafre seek with his sweaty breath, and inspired in every heath and halt. The tender croppers and the youngest son hath in the ram his half course run, and small fowls maken maladia, that sleepen all the near with open ear. So pricketh him Nahur in her courages, then lungen folk to goon on pilgrimages, and palmers for to seeken strange strands, to fern halves couth in soundry lawns, and specially from every shares end day of England to Canterbury they wend day. The holy blissful martyr for to seek, that him hath holpen, one that they were thick. So this was the old English accent in Chaucerian time. Amazing, truly amazing. कसम चुका लो जे एक लफ्ज भी समझ आए हुए. And I guess the same would be the case of the audience here, because we are using a standard English, and we're using that English which is common nowadays. How did you guys speak this complex English? How could you speak, or how could you understand that? Okay, uh, uh, Mr. Joseph, would you like to tell us about this book, Prologue to the Canterbury Tales, from where you were just reading a line or some lines? Because we are interested in knowing about this book, because it is very famous book, and literature anywhere does not begin without it. Okay, if you want me to talk about Canterbury Tales, yes, I can. Well, the idea was borrowed from Boccaccio's Decameron, and it was about Black Death. So, in the story, there were certain people who wanted to get rid of Black Death, and it was time of paranoid society, and people wanted to escape from the deaths and the horrors of that bloody and epidemic which was prevailing all over England, especially London. So they hid themselves in a cave, and there they told each other some stories. So I took the idea from that. So it was basically borrowed from Boccaccio's Decameron, but I developed my own stories. That's why I'm said to be the first story writer in England. So in my Canterbury Tales, I have told about some characters who came to Tabardin. It was a time when I was really wanting to have company. In England, in those days, there was lots of bad weathers and snow, and you could not travel anywhere. So in that time, I wanted to have some company, some people who could take me to Canterbury because traveling alone was impossible for even a man like me. So what happened one day, I was sitting in Tabardin when 29 people in a company. So they came and I was happy to see them. And I asked them to rise up early in the morning so that we can reach Canterbury in time. And since I had time and space, so I thought that why should not I write something about those people, about those 29 characters, starting from the knight and ending with the partner. So this series of Canterbury Tales, the thing that I am telling you just is a prologue. But in fact, I wrote stories, and those stories were based on uh, those people, what they did, and I advised everyone, like we were 30 in number, and I asked everyone to tell a story while we are going there and coming back. So it would be a huge collection of stories, but I could write very some of them. As far as I remember, in those times there were 24 in number which I could write. Rest of them I could not write. So some were in prose form and some in story, some in poem or verse form. So Canterbury is about Saint Thomas Becket, where we used to go. So Thomas Becket was a person who saved many people during Black Death. That king, that very selfish kind of king, he ordered and killed Saint Thomas Becket. But afterwards, he realized, yes, he did a bad work. So the cathedral was built, and there was a shrine, and people go there. So I also took the idea from the same story. So it was a pilgrimage, basically, where I went, and then it was a good time having those people around about which I have talked. So this was the idea of Canterbury Tales. Okay, that is wonderful. So would you like to tell us about your humanism attribute, that people say that Chaucer was a great humanist? So, what kind of humanism are they referring to, or what kind of humanism do we find in your works, or especially in prologue to the Canterbury Tales? You're right. Like living among those people of 14th century, having so many corruption prevailing around, and having so many people upset about economic situation, I had to be humanitarian. I wanted people to be free from corruption. I just showed them a mirror. I did not want to criticize them. I did not want to condemn them. Rather, it was uh, like on my part, I would say a humanitarian attitude. So people call me a humanist. Okay, very right. That makes me ask you even another question related to this. That you were a humanist, then why did you use satire and irony, and how did you use it? Why did I use satire? Because some people representing the 14th century, they were really corrupt, and I wanted to have a satire on them, but it was tongue in cheek. I did not intend to have some very Javillian kind of satire that I may condemn them all. No, I just wanted to show them a mirror, and that's what I showed them. And irony, yes, for those characters which were not that corrupt, but they were not doing justice with their profession. So I wanted them to be amended. I wanted them to be better in society. So I also used irony. Yes, I did. Okay, very justified answer. Thank you very much. And now, finally, I would like to ask you about characterization because it is said that you employed a very unique kind of characterization in prologue to the Canterbury Tales, and it is also said that your characters are cross section of society. So, how would you comment on that? Okay, the characterization. Yes, people talk about my characterization. Basically, I divided my characters among three types. I gave them three different categories. One was military class, one was business class, and one was ecclesiastical class, which we now call religious class. So, those people, 29 people who were there on pilgrimage with me. So I uh, talked about the A, B, C, and D. So A for appearance, B for behavior, C for colors, and D for dresses. So C, color means like the colors of the clothes, colors of the things they were having, like they were having ponies or horses or mares or whatever kind of pouches they were having with them, their color. So I tried showing their appearance, behavior, colors, dresses, and from this I tried showing the complete 14th century. So complete 14th century is exhibited through all this. So this was my effort. And then I also made a cross section of society because if you read my prologue to the Canterbury Tales, you will get to have an idea what kind of people lived in those times, what kind of people I saw with my own eyes. That is my realism as well, which you missed. So I'm also a realist. I worked, I wrote, I like penned whatever I saw. I did not add any single thing from my side. I wrote, or I penned whatever I saw in them. If I saw good in them, I wrote that. If I saw bad in them, I wrote that too. So that is my structure of it. So it is not some exaggerated work if you expect from me that being a writer I may have added. No, it is not so. So this is all about myself, but I'm thankful that you called me back from 14th century. It was hell dark in the grave, and I had to come here, and I'm thankful. But here I came here in your country, and light is not even here. So who is the ruler here, by the way? Thank you very much, Mr. Chaucer. It was really nice meeting you, and it was really a privilege to have you here on my channel. We'll keep inviting you time and again afterwards about your rest of the programs, the rest of the works that you've written. So thank you very much, and my dear audience. Now, uh, Mr. Milton, Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Donne, they all wanted to come here in the first show, but that due to time constraint we could not call them all. Inshallah, they all will come here in this program if you like this one. So since every literature in England begins with Chaucer, so we invited him first. This is his due right to be called first. And afterwards, if you really appreciate the video, then many other literary figures, they will keep coming. So stay tuned. Allah Hafiz.